the sit-in, was true. But it's also raising expectations in your program, winning Big Ten championships, graduating your players, advancing, getting to the final game. Like all those things you look back and reflect on and feel good about it. But it's the relationships. It's the guys. And so we have great guys, great staff. It's fun to be around.
You really enjoyed this season. This is one of your favorites, isn't it?
Yeah, you carry a piano on your back a little bit, obviously for what we've gone through, but like I've always said, you gotta sit in it. But there's no doubt about that. Like we have competitive guys, we have good guys, and I always throw around the word sacrifice, because if you want to have a special team and a great program, you got to have some people sacrifice, especially from a role definition standpoint.
Growing up in Indiana, growing up in Delaware County in Muncie, you know what basketball means to the state of Indiana. So to give Purdue this opportunity and the state this opportunity, I know that isn't lost on you.
No, not at all. Not at all. We've had some really good players. Zach, obviously, Carson Edwards. I could go on and on. Good players from the state of Ohio. But we recruit our state, and we have such good high school coaches, and so like they make your job easier. But that's kind of the Midwest too. But for us, why go anywhere else if the guys are right there? But it's also you got to get people that fit. I don't think anybody's going to argue that we should have took Zach or Carson Edwards or Vince Edwards or Cody Mathias or Isaac Haas. And so you get some really good players. So you got to be smart about it. You're just not taking guys that are the most talented players in our state. You want to see that fit. And sometimes that's tough to gauge. But for the most part, we got enough models at our place where we can look at it and say, Ryan Klein fits into this mold of Dakota Mathias or Sasha Stefanovic. Where I think one of the things, obviously Zach's a special player in the league, but Braden Smith's really given us a punch. And Fletcher Laurie's competitiveness and not scared of the moment and his competitiveness, along with Braden's, now you can build that. I think Trey Kaufman's really going to take off for us. So we have a good nucleus of guys. Caleb really had to sacrifice for us, this year just because I wasn't going to take Zach out. And that's a hard pill to swallow, right? And but he's been great. I could go on and on about our guys. We feel good about the guys returning. We feel good about our young guys coming too.
Just the challenge of getting there.
Right. Well, they just stay with you. They're elite, and so I said in the presser in there, you play a team and they got a lockdown defender, and you play the next team and they got a lockdown defender, and UConn brings lockdown defenders off the bench. And so everybody they starve, might not be a lockdown defender, but they're a great team defender. So they do start two guys like Stephen Castle, really guard. He's 19 years old. He's a kid, and he's out there, and he's bird dogging, and he's on you. He's 6'6" and athletic. You look at Tristan Newton in his 5th year. He's the same way. Diarra comes in. He's the same way. And now you've got a 7-2 shot blocker down. So they wanted to stay one-on-one with Zach, and so instead of fighting that, we got Zach 25 shots. And so our turnover stayed under 10. Our issue in this game was we needed to be more efficient in what we did. It wasn't terrible, but we needed to be a little bit better, and we needed to be able to get a defensive rebound. We can make a run on them if we can get a defensive rebound, but we had a real tough time there boxing them out. And then when we would get stops, when we would get misses, I keep saying that, when we would get misses, we weren't getting the ball, they were. And then now we couldn't make a run, and we couldn't do anything, but that's what great teams will do too.
Did you feel like maybe you get a 3 at some point and kind of get some momentum going?
Yeah, we got a couple looks there. Mace got the one look right there, and he was open, and then and that's kind of the catch-22 with it. When you do get them, now you press a little bit because you haven't had them, right? But you're not going to get very many of them. But we told them, hey, we got to have great movement. We got to be able to get in and play off of 2 feet and spray the ball out and be able to move. They just did their defense was better than our offense in that area.
Now, you talk about one game at a time, and it is, but these guys looked at this one game for a whole year instead of just basically, we're going to win a national championship or fail. That's an impossibly high bar, and they almost pulled it off. So.
Right, yeah, that's for us, and for anybody that's in this position, it's not a failure. You got beat, but it's not a failure. And then there's a big difference there. The year before it is, right? When that happens. And for us, that was so tough because you know, you're a 2 seed, 3 seed, 4 seed, 5 seed, 6 seed, whatever the hell we are, for about 6-7 years, and you fight like hell to be a 1 seed. Like, that's what everybody wants, right? And you get there, then you have that disappointment. So for all those guys to be able to sit in that and then come back out and go on an international trip, Zach goes to the World Cup, then go the whole season. And I've always told you guys, like, you want the NCAA tournament to start in November, because you're just tired of it. Like, you're tired of the questions, you're tired of it. You know, we have a top 5 schedule in the country, and we go undefeated, and like, nobody appreciates it. Like, you know how hard it is to beat the 3 teams in Hawaii and beat the #1 ranked Arizona team, and to go into Toronto and beat Alabama. I think Alabama proved how good they are. And so, like, our guys did special things, but like, you didn't, like, you felt good about it, but like, it was like, well, we still haven't got to the NCAA tournament. We still haven't, like, you're still sitting there. You win your league by 3 games. You know, it's the first time since 1976 to win a league back-to-back years and by multiple games, which is just a crazy stat. So like, you go through all those things, but now you're still like, hey, you got to beat Grambling. You know what I mean? Like, you carry that. Like, you just do. You carry it as a coach. You know, coaches always say it's not that big deal. We'll keep our focus. We'll move. No. You feel that. You feel it as a player, you feel it as a coach. Like, you're not human if you don't feel it. And so, like, for us, like, you know, I just got a lot of respect for our guys, for young people, competitive people, to be able to string together 5 wins and almost win a national championship is pretty impressive.
Does this raise the standard every day?
No question, but it doesn't change how we operate. You know, and that's probably the #1 thing for us is, you know, the landscape is changing. You know, and where does that go? Like, where's the guardrails in that world? You know, and so we've been able to keep doing it the same way. You know, it'll be interesting if we can still keep doing it the same way. I would think we can. You know, we have major support in our place, so that's not going to be an issue. But we're not going to get away from the education and the people and, like, growing and developing guys. Like, you know, I hope I don't have to do that. I love the David Jenkins and the Lance Joneses of the world. I just don't want to take 4 to 5 guys, you know, that now they're coming to your place and they want the same role. You know, when in reality, like, when you take Lance Jones, it's perfect, but it's one guy, right? You know, it's one guy. And so if we have to do that, we'll continue to do that. But I do think it comes and finds us at some point. Like, not everything's perfect.
All right, guys, we gotta go.
Go ahead now.
What should some of your returning pieces take from just being part of this and seeing what made this team great?
Yeah, I think, you know, you build your team, you know, through your main guys. You know, so Zach Edey, your value as a player comes, you know, do you make him better? You know, Braden Smith has the ball in his hands a lot. Braden Smith makes other people better. You know, and so, like, what you want is, like, where's our growth with the people that are coming back? Like, you know, you got a very good core with Braden Fletch, Drake Hoffman, you know, Caleb First, you know, the guys with experience, you know, that have played for us. And so, like, Miles Colvin and Cam Heide, you know, I think got some really good experiences, you know, the whole season, but yet there's times they didn't play a whole lot. Now you kind of see, like, hey, I don't want that role. I don't want the 9th man role or the 8th man role, or we got guys on our team that didn't get in, you know, so that is really hard. And so, but I think they understand that I'll be fair with it. And so, like, people always say, well, what does this look like? I said, hell, I don't know what it looks like. They're about ready. They're going to tell me, though. And so, like, you know, if I tell you what's going to happen in 6 months, I'm not being fair to anybody. Like, I'm going to wait and see who gets better, who's going to work on their game, who's going to evolve and be a part of that core that we got to work around, and then get things figured out after the fact. But their effort and the time they put in their game and how they handle themselves, that's what's going to determine, you know, how much they play or who starts or things of that nature.
We gotta go, guys.